Don't forget to use TCG Center 5 code on ccgcastle.com and get 5% discount on your purchase. Check video description or visit CCG Castle for more. Hello guys and welcome to Pokemon TCG Center, Mario with you, and today we're looking at the top 8 deck from Bradley Curcio from the Orlando, Florida regionals that was this week. So basically this was his deck list that he played. So he played some kind of the Darkrai Yveltal EX version with a lot of Tehi Pokemon cards, for example Sableye, also that Archeops with the Ancient power which prevents each player that can play any Pokemon from his or her hand to evolve Pokemons. So basically this card is good against those Garbodors. It's also good against those Greninjas, also against any kind of Mega Monetric EX decks that you can find probably on expanded format. Also Gallade with the Premonition. I'm not sure if I pronounced right. So also with a good ability, once during your turn you might look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back on the top of your deck in any order that you really want. And also that Sensitive Blade is not that bad attack. You can hit for 60, and if you play supported this turn you can hit for 70 more. For example, you can hit for 130 with a fighting Pokemon. Well, this Pokemon can also set up the knockout against those lighting type decks. It's probably not mentioned to be used, but in some kind of the situations, well, it also can be used, for example, to attack. And also that Jirachi with the Distiller Guidance, which will allow you to search your deck for any supported card, and of course the Keldeo with the rush in ability to just rush in and retreat to anything you really like to use to get rid of your poison and any other condition like asleep or paralyzed. So really smart deck. In my opinion, it's built. Also that Darkrai EX with the Dark Cloak ability, which allows your Pokemon that has any darkness energy to have free retreat. You can also attack with the Night Spear, but I'm not sure that this was the situation in this deck. Probably he used it. I'm not sure, I didn't watch any of the matches. Also the Darkrai EX with the latest set, Breakpoint with Dark Pulse and Dark Head. Pretty much you can attack turn 1 with the Dark Head with the double colorless energy and the Dark Patch for 80, and if your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep you can do 80 more damage counter. So it's a strong card. It will have also 220 HP and it will hit for 90. Just in case your opponent's active Pokemon is not asleep if you have Fighting Fury Belt attached on it. Yeah, also I mentioned Sableye with the Curse, Confuse Ray, and with the Junk Hunt, of course, if you need any of item cards to grab back into your hand. Also Baby Yveltal with the Oblivion Wing to accelerate your benched Pokemons and to spreading 30 or 40 damage, and increasing HP to total 170 with that Fighting Fury Belt. And also those two Yveltals with the Fright Night ability, which will also says as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon has each Pokemon Tools card in play has no effect. So this card is good against those Bursting Balloons, against those Season Toad with the Rock Guards. So in my opinion this is the good matchup with this Yveltal against decks like this. And also Pitch Black Spear is not that bad attack. Well, you can hit for 60 and spread 60 more damage on your opponent's bench EX Pokemon. So with the 2 attacks you can probably knock out something like lower HP Pokemon EX like Shaymin EX or Jirachi EX. So in my opinion also the good card to have, and also good smart when he chose the cards for this deck. And also the least and probably the main attacker that was in this deck was the Yveltal EX with 170 HP and with the Evil Ball, so 20 plus 20 for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So for example with only 2 energies you can attack for 60 with the Evil Ball, and increase the damage for 10 more with that Fighting Fury belt, which is also good, or use Ice Cyclone for 100 and just remove energy from Yveltal to bench the Yveltal or something other. So pretty much 13 Pokemons, 36 trainer cards and 11 energies, so which means 60 cards in total. So let's take a look once again of each card separate. So from the Pokemons, he have 13 Pokemons in total. So the first one on the list is a Shaymin EX. So he used only one Shaymin EX for setup ability. When you play Shaymin from your hand, you can set up and draw cards until you have 6 in your hand. If you start with the Shaymin, you can Sky Return with the double colors energy, which is also a good thing to know, and you can also hit for 30 with it. Even if it's in the benched, you can also increase his HP with Fighting Fury belt, or if you start with it and you can not retreat turn 1, that's also good backup to know. So he also have two different Darkrai EX, one Darkrai EX from Dark Explorers with the Dark Cloak that will have that free ability retreat, and the other one with Dark Head from the Breakpoint. Then he also ran one Sableye with the Junk Hunt to put 2 item cards from his discard pile back to hand. Also one Baby Yveltal with the Oblivion Wing and 2 Yveltals with the Fright Knight, as I mentioned earlier. Also 2 Yveltal EX as the main attacker with the Ice Cyclone and the Evil Ball, 1 copies of Archeops with the Ancient Power and 1 Gallade with the Premonition. 1 copy of Jirachi EX with the Stellar Guidance, which allows him to grab any supported card he actually need. Also that Keldeo with the Russian ability, also really nice card in this deck. Well, it can also attack for like 50 in this deck with double colorless and darkness energy. Okay, 60 in total. And from item cards, we have a lot of difference. So he played 3 Battle Compressors. With the Battle Compressor, you can discard 3 cards from your deck and shuffle your deck afterward. So pretty much the cards you will probably discard will depend on the situation. Probably Archeops and the Gallade, also some Darkness Energies and those supported cards that you can see right there. Also 1 Computer Search as the Ace Spec. So in the expanded format you can play Ace Spec. 4 the most popular Ace Packs, or okay, even 5. So the people start to play Live Duo on that. Sableye decks, also Computer Search and the Dowsing Machine are pretty good cards. Also Rock Guard in those item log decks, and pretty much Super Scoop Up Cyclone in those Landorus Crobats decks. Well, those 5 Ace Pack cards are pretty much popular. So we also can see that he played 4 Dark Patches in this deck. So with the Dark Patch you can discard, you can attach the energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemons, and he had 4 of them. So he was easily able to accelerate his benched Pokemons pretty easily with the Dark Patch. Also 1 Tool Scrapper. The reason why people in Expanded play Tool Scrapper against those Starling Megaphones are just because with the Tool Scrapper you can also remove Tool from your Pokemons. Just in case you have Headringer, you can just remove it with the Tool Scrapper. Then also we can see that he played only 3 Trainers Mail. A lot of people play 4 Trainers Mail, but 3 Trainers Mail in my opinion are also a good thing, because cutting down 1 Trainers Mail, for example, for the Tool Scrapper is a smart and good option to have. With the Trainers Mail you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and of course you can reveal Trainer card if you find there and put it into your hand, except for the Trainers Mail. So basically with the Trainer's Mail he was able to grab any item or trainer card, as you can see right here in the list. Only 4 Ultra Balls, so this was the only Ultra Ball that he was, so only with Ultra Ball he was able to search his deck for the Pokemon cards. Some other people plays, for example, 2 copies of Jirachis and maybe 1 or 2 copies of Level Ball, so they can grab Jirachi and place and use any supporter that they need. But in this deck I think that only 4 Ultra Balls are pretty good and pretty balanced. Also 4 copies of Versus Seekers, which allows him to put any supported card from his discard pile back to his hand. Also a good thing. Pretty much this is the staple card, and pretty much 99% of decks you would probably see on pretty much any top player list 4 copies of Versus Seekers. So I don't know if there is some professional player who would play less than 3 Versus Seekers in their deck. Maybe in some kind of Giratina Vileplume decks, you would probably not see 4 copies of Versus Seekers. You would probably see 2 or 3 copies, but that's the Vileplume item lock, which also lock you and prevent you by playing item cards. So we have like 7 different supported cards. In total, he run 8. So he stick with 1 AZ. AZ is good because with the AZ you can just scoop up anything from the play. And I really like to play AZ in pretty much 90% of my decks that I made on my YouTube channel. And he also decided to run 1 copies of AZ, so AZ is just a way too good card because you can remove Shaman or Jirachi easy targets from the play, and you can also remove your damaged Pokemons, and pretty much easily with the Rushing ability you can charge them back with the Dark Patches and be able to attack again. 1 Colress is good for the mid-range game or the late game when both players have, for example, like 4 or 5 Pokemons on the bench. You can just use Colress and draw up to 10, even more cards. You can maximum go 16 if your opponents have Skyfield, but I personally didn't see any game where opponent draws 16 cards. I see like 13 or 14, but I didn't see 16. Also 1 Getsis. Getsis is pretty good. It's pretty popular again. It wasn't that popular back then when it was released in the Plasma Freeze in the standard format, but in the expanded format people start to play red card Getsis, especially in those Sableye decks. So with the Getsis you're able to reveal your opponent's hand and discard all item cards to his deck and draw the number of cards that your opponents discard the item cards. So this is pretty good and pretty strong card, especially if you can set up pretty good and play Getsis in turn 1. Only 1 copies of Lysander, not 2. I personally like to play 2 copies of Lysander just because a lot of time Lysander can be priced and you cannot play it, so he decided to play only 1. He managed to go to top 8, so it looks like that 1 Lysander was also a good thing in this deck. Of course, 1 copy of Max's Hidden Ball Trick. If this card is the last card in your hand, you can play it and draw 5 cards and reveal 1 fighting Pokemon from your discard pile. So it could be either Archeops or Gallade. So this is the reason why he played the Max's Hidden Ball Trick. Only 1 copies of N. Well, in my opinion, pretty good. With only 1 copies of N. Since he played 4 copies of Versus Seeker, he can have in total 5 Ns if he needs. So each player shuffle his or her hand in the deck and draw the cards equal to the remaining prize cards. So pretty much good to have in this deck also, and in pretty much every expanded deck. He also have 2 copies of Professor Sycamores. So with the Professor Sycamores he was able to discard hand and draw 7 cards. So only like I would say 3.5 draw supported cards, because that Colress is not the early game draw supporter that you would like to play on your turn 1, but since he have that Jirachi EX, he can just Ultra Ball for a supporter he needs, and that's pretty much GG. When we talk about drawing, 2 reverse volleys as the new stadium, which says choose which this card is faces, blah blah. This attack will does 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So basically you can increase your Darkness Pokemon's attack for 10. And pretty much with this and Fighting Fury Belt you will have the Muscle Band and the 40 HP in additional. Also 2 Silent Labs, pretty good and pretty balanced stadium in this deck, because he only play 1 Shaman, and if you can set up pretty good, you can put down that Silent Lab turn 1 and your opponent's basic Pokemons will not have the ability, and that's good. You can prevent your opponents by playing Pokemons with the abilities, and later you can just, when you set up, remove that Silent Lab with that reverse volley just because you want to have free retreat. You want to have that Friday night if you need it, and also you need to have that rushing retreat if you have poison or something like a special condition on your active Pokemon. From tool cards, we see only 2 Fighting Fury belts in this deck, which will increase the HP for 40 and attacks for 10 on your active Pokemon's basics, of course. 2 Float Stones, so Float Stone pretty much for that Keldeo, Rushing Retreat, and 11 energies in total, so 4 of double color synergies and 7 darkness energies in total. So this was the deck analyze of the Bradley Curcio top 8 regional championship from Florida this week. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. Till the next time, I hope you have a nice day, and goodbye.